Hi, this is Irving Steele here, filling in for host Kate Steele on Stories Worth Telling. Today we are very lucky and honored to have a special guest from the Sierra Club. Her name is Ann Gadwah, and she is passionate about the environment, and she helps to push different areas of legislation throughout the state and even around the whole country to help move us towards a better, cleaner, and healthier environment for all of us. So we're super grateful for all that they do and under her leadership. So welcome, Ann.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Of course, yeah, and would just love to hear, how did it all start for you? I know you have somewhat of a special environmental story of your why, of what you do.
That is a great question. So I got involved with the Sierra Club about 14 years ago. 14 years ago as a member, but my environmental heart really goes back to when I was young. I'm sure you remember in 1989, the horrible oil spill in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing about that and just being devastated by the environmental impact of the spill and all the animals that were hurt and the beautiful pristine coast that was just, destroyed after that. And it really, it gave me a love for the ocean. It gave me a love for the earth. It gave me, a desire to want to do something. So, life kind of takes twists and turns, but I got involved with the Sierra Club about 14 years ago. I joined as a member, did a little bit of national work around the Arctic, a natural wildlife refuge.
And that was pretty easy just to become a member at the beginning.
It's very easy to become a member. You can go to the website. The starting membership is very affordable. There's a student rate, there's a family rate, there's all sorts of things. And then you get access to all of our information, all of the campaigns that we're going for, and a lot of environmental information.
That's great. So you just have this desire, you become a member, and then what after the Sierra Club?
So you become a member, you get on our mailing list. As a national member, you will get information from the national club about things that are happening at the nationwide level, anything to do with the government, anything to do with national parks, anything to do with the Parks Department, things like that. Any campaigns that are going around to move us away from fossil fuels, to preserve open space. And then you'll also be added to the Connecticut mailing list, which really concentrates on what's going on with Connecticut, which we do a lot of those same campaigns, but we have some campaigns that are definitely, specific to Connecticut, so it's really wonderful.
It's amazing, and I love a lot of your emphasis at the Sierra Club, especially here in Connecticut, on water and just the importance of the ocean, that we have such a beautiful coastline here along the shore. So maybe you want to share a little bit about any of the projects you're working on with water? The water is interesting, and we do work a little bit on there, but we don't always take the lead on that. We're lucky enough in Connecticut that we have a lot of environmental organizations and a lot of people that work on different projects. We do work on a project right now that we're concerned for the Putnam Ash Landfill. There is a ash landfill, and I'm not sure if everybody knows, but most of the waste in Connecticut is sent to incinerators in Hartford and Bridgeport, in different places. So usually cities. So the ash gets transported to Putnam, and the Pompabog River is right there. It's also where the Killing the Energy Center is. It's also where a lot of other things are. So we're really concerned about the groundwater there being downgraded and the water in the river being downgraded and not as crystal clear. It's like a really beautiful river for recreation. It's a really beautiful river in the Last Green Valley. So we're really concerned that this expansion of the ash landfill, is going to affect the water quality. So that's I'm sure it would.
Yeah, and I mean it already kind of does. It already kind of does. Yeah, it already kind of does.
Yeah.
But it's
a really important point, because we think all of our landfills, we're producing more and more waste. Where does it all go?
Right.
If it's going to an ash landfill out into our waterways,
yeah.
it makes us maybe think twice, as opposed to, hey, let's just buy another thing on Amazon,
Right.
or maybe let's try and fix something or make something yourself.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely makes you think about where your waste goes and who's being affected and what's being affected.
What's being affected? One thing that it always boggles my mind is going to our beautiful parks throughout Connecticut and running into bottles and trash all around the trail.
Yes, that is quite upsetting. I feel like you can if bring it out, right? It's not it's a no-brainer. It's not a hard thing. Yeah. It's very upsetting. It's very upsetting, and
I don't know if you had heard, but this year is our 50th anniversary as a chapter.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
50 years.
We started in 1972, on June 1st in 1972.
Nice.
So we are 50 years old this year, and we are having a celebration, and we are also doing a project called 50 for 50.
Okay.
And we're hoping that people will sign up for our cleanups.
That's a cleanup,
a
right?
Cleanup, yep,
Okay.
cleanup. So if you're interested in cleaning up in your local community or joining another one, you can go on our website and sign up, and you can lead your own or you can join another, and we're hoping to get 50 out there because it's a really easy and fun way to make a little bit of a difference right in your own community.
Oh, totally. So the goal is for 50 cleanups on the same exact day?
No, it can be anywhere. It can be anywhere from now until July. Just because a lot of people like to do them around Earth Day. A lot of people like to do them in the spring because the water rushes down. All the garbage kind of comes out of the waters, comes out of the woods. Because of the snow melt and because of the spring rains and such.
And Earth Day is just around the corner, the 22nd,
yes,
right?
It is the 22nd. It's gonna be wonderful. We have lots of events, and it's been nice because we're finally kind of getting back to being able to get together. So there's a lot of events that we're going to be at and have a table so you can come see us. We're going to be at Tungus Community College on April 18th and 20th. We're going to be at the Sunrise March on the 22nd. We will be at Keeney Park in Hartford on the 23rd. So it's like a week of amazing events that you can come out and see the Sierra Club, but also learn how to plant trees and learn how to compost and learn, and all these like wonderful little
Lots of
educational things, exactly.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of schools that you'll be collaborating with on that too.
Yes, there absolutely is. A few different colleges. The Sunrise Strike on April 22nd will be at the Capitol in Hartford, and they have buses coming in from all over the state to bring students demanding climate action. I know. So they're a wonderful ally that we have and a wonderful group that we try to support their work, and they're very supportive of ours as well. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I know some of these things in the news maybe with gas prices and people are frustrated with that, but potentially it's an opportunity for some of these things that you are pushing in the realm of electric vehicles and things like that.
Yes. So I heard a statistic the other day from a man that builds electric vehicle chargers right here in Connecticut, in Oxford. And he said that when they've surveyed people and they say, when you want to buy your next car, what would you want to buy? And 35% of people said they would like to buy an electric car. And it is. And with gas prices spiking, with, geopolitical problems, with not, potentially running out someday, we need to be able to switch to different forms of energy. And electric cars are a great way to get there. And the great thing about electric cars and moving towards them is that we'll need to be able to move towards a cleaner grid as well. Right now, Connecticut depends greatly on fossil gas, on fracked gas, methane, to power our electricity, and we need to move away from that. We need to move to cleaner sources. For a long time, natural gas, as it was called, is been touted as a bridge fuel, but the scientists have found out that it is just as harmful in the short term for greenhouse gas emissions as carbon dioxide is. So moving to cleaner sources of energy, along with things like electric cars, are going to make a huge difference in our carbon emissions in Connecticut here.
And that's one thing we're really excited about too along the shore here is this big wind project that is about to start in New London. So really excited about that. And I know they're a real big part of your work as well as with the legislators, and I'd love to hear some of the policy work you've been focused on.
Sure, we have some great stuff this year, and piggybacking off of electric cars, there's two great bills that we're talking about this year. One of them is House Bill 5039, and that would adopt the medium and heavy-duty truck emissions from California. So California is a special state where they can have stricter emissions rules than the EPA sets out. So if for other states to want to adopt those same strict rules, they would have to adopt the ones that California has. And California right now has great rules about moving to electric vehicles by 2025 and 2030. So Connecticut would really be great to adopt that because our transportation emissions are, are high. They're almost 40% of all our greenhouse gas emissions and pollution emissions are from transportation. There's also Senate Bill 4, which is a wonderful bill that really sets the stage for moving to electric vehicles. It incentivizes buying of the electric vehicles. It incentivizes the state going towards buying electric vehicles for their fleet. It make sure there's enough chargers, because that's sort of the problem now. Like, I drive a Prius Prime, and I can, which is nice because it's a hybrid, but I can also plug it in. But it's difficult to find charging stations. So to move to electric vehicles, we need to set up that infrastructure. It also would.
Will there be any financial incentives to help consumers purchase them?
Yeah, there's a great program called the Cheaper Program, and that gives you money, gives you rebates on your electric car. And that actually applied to me when I bought the Prius Prime. And this bill would also extend it to e-bikes, which I just think are just the most wonderful way of the future. Like, not everybody can ride a bike everywhere, but electric bikes certainly open up the door for many more people to be able to take advantage of riding bicycles. So.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
and especially when our cities and towns become much more walkable and pedestrian friendly.
Yes, and that's a huge thing too, right, is to being able to give people the option to be able to walk and to be able to bike and to be able to have different modes of transportation, and make our public transportation, expand that as well, and clean and new, and electric school buses, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
And for a lot of these issues, I'm sure a lot of our viewers are pretty passionate about them as well. How can they become more involved and help?
So the best possible thing you can do for legislation is to call your legislator, your senator, or your representative. You can look them up. You put your address. You can go to the Connecticut General Assembly website, and you can look them up if you don't know who they are, or if you do have a relationship with them already. That's great. And call their office, email them, write them a letter, and tell them what is important to you, what bills are important to you, what issues are important to you, because they listen. They work for you. They were elected by you. They want to make sure that they're representing their constituents well. So for them to be able to do that effectively is to be able to reach out to them and tell them what you want. Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah.
And then what about to get more involved with the Sierra Club? They can become a member, maybe.
Yep. To get more involved with the Sierra Club, you can become a member. You can visit our website, our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Instagram page, any of the social media sites, and go onto our website. You can become a member there. There's a place where you can find out where you want to volunteer. We have many different campaigns where, the stuff I talked about, moving away from fossil fuels, clean energy, EVs, all sorts of things like that. And then you can also find out what legislation that we're supporting, which we're opposing in our legislative section. We have it's really a wonderful website, and you can get a lot of information on there. And you can call too. You can call myself or our chapter director Samantha will answer and talk to you and find out what your passions are and find out where to plug you in.
That's great. It sounds like it's a awesome, growing community of people really passionate about the environment here.
It is really great. We have about 11,000 members here in the state. And
just in the state of Connecticut.
And just in the state of Connecticut, for being a small state, they really do care about these things. So and we're a shoreline state. Climate change is going to affect us. We don't have great air quality, and not all of it is our fault. We're in between two major municipal hubs of the world, but at the same time, there's a lot we can be doing to keep our own emissions down, and the directness of being right there is certainly worth doing. Yeah.
How much competition do you have with the other Sierra clubs in other states? Do you compete with each other? Hey, we want to have more cleanups. We want to have more bills passed that we support.
There's
friendly competition.
Friendly competition sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's like some motivating kind of things. Like, hey, whoever's sells the most, does the most cleanups might get some like a fun party or a fun sort of thing or T-shirts or that sort of thing. But mostly we're cooperating. We're cooperating together. We have the national organization, and then there are 64 chapters.
64.
64 in all of 50 states, and then there's 2 in Canada and 1 in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And how
we're the oldest, most enduring grassroots environmental organization in the country.
Amazing. And what do you envision for the next maybe 3 to 5 years moving forward?
For the chapter and for the national organization, I think we will become a more equitable, a more inclusive, a more diverse organization. Really, just building the bigger we. I think we've not everybody in the past has always thought about all these different justice issues connecting together, but they all are connected together. Racial justice and gender justice is connected to environmental work, is connected to social justice, is immigrant rights. They're all connected. They're all connected, and we can't solve one without solving the other. So building the bigger we and really becoming, a powerful force for change.
That's so powerful too, that when you think about it, the earth is here for all of us, regardless of where we are, our background, all these things. And it just behooves us really to take care of it.
Right.
For all of us.
Right, for all of us and for everybody. And unfortunately, a lot of the fossil fuel economy can't really exist without places like sacrifice zones almost, right? Like, where are we going to put this landfill? Where are we going to put this power plant? And it unfortunately ends up being, in low-income communities and environmental justice communities and communities of color, and it's unfortunate. And it happens here in Connecticut, and we're, dedicated to solving that and helping lift up voices that haven't always been heard.
Exactly, and it could potentially create more opportunities too, that different ideas are talked about with local agriculture that could create jobs and local healthy food for the communities around.
Yep, absolutely. There are a few good agricultural bills out there right now for climate smart practices, and I think that supporting all the work we can in a really inclusive and holistic way is the key to solving the climate crisis and the key to a more equitable and just society.
And at the end of the day, too, many people are very practical and rational in terms of economics, and more of these solutions, whether it's energy or it's waste technologies, they're becoming more economically viable, which makes them even that much more attractive.
Right, absolutely. And I think that having a lot of the local systems in place, I mean, the supply chain broke down during COVID because it's fragile, because it's huge and it's spread out. But if we can, have a decent local food sources in Connecticut, if we can have local energy with solar and wind and a distributed grid, because sometimes, right now we have a very centralized grid, so if one thing goes out, a ton of people lose power. But if we can distribute the grid with community solar, with wind projects, then it will be in much better shape and won't cost people as much money. And I mean, if the cost of doing nothing for the climate crisis would be astronomical. On human health, on property values, on everything,
Yeah, and health, exactly, too, with the clean air stuff that Sierra Club is working hard on, that pollution in our air impacts us so much for all these different cancers and areas of health, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of data out there that communities that are close to power plants, close to trash incinerators, close to any industry, have a much higher rate of asthma, have a much higher rate of respiratory disease, heart disease, also shorter lifespan, more maternal and infant deaths. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So figuring out how to solve that issue is really important to human health, to cost, and to lives, and to people's lives. Everybody deserves to live in healthy communities.
Yeah.
Healthy, safe communities. Everybody deserves to live in there. It's not even a question.
Kind of these basic human rights.
Basic human rights, exactly.
Awesome. Well, were there other things that you wanted to share with our viewers that you're working on right now at the Sierra Club?
Yes, there are a couple fun things coming up. So we have revamped our outings program. We've been doing outings for years. It sort of had dwindled in the last few years, and there was a couple, stalwart people still putting them on. So we did an outings leader training last year, and we have about 15 outings leaders that are ready to hit the ground running this summer. So keep a track if you're interested in coming on hikes or coming on tours or coming on kayaking and walks along the beach. I mean, there's just unlimited amounts of things we could do as outings and limited things to learn. A couple years ago, I did the Connecticut College Arboretum. And the woman that was the director at the time led us, about 20 of us, around and told us about all the native plants and all the beautiful things. So there's things like, there's opportunities like that. There's opportunities everywhere. So we are bringing also a military outdoors program to Connecticut at this time. I'm leading up on that, and I have some really good people that are supporting me with that. And we're hoping to be able to lead outings for veterans by veterans. So that's going to be outreach we're doing in the next couple months to get that program started, and that's really exciting.
That's amazing. For the veterans, are you able to collaborate with the VA and other veterans groups?
That's what I think you're doing. So the National Sierra Club has military outdoors, Sierra Club Military Outdoors, and they also have Inspiring Connections Outdoors, which is like taking kids out into the woods, into hiking and biking and all those sort of things that might not have had the opportunity beforehand. So those are two really great outings programs that are both in Connecticut too. There's a New Haven chapter and a Hartford chapter of the ICO. But yeah, the military outdoors, we'll be working hopefully with the VA, hopefully with any veterans organizations that really see the value of getting people outdoors and the healing power of nature. Really, the healing power of nature, and is what we're going for. Yes. And that's how Sierra Club starts. It's really back to our roots, back 30 years ago, wow, 130 years ago, taking people out into the woods in Yosemite and taking people out into the woods into the Grand Canyon and showing them how beautiful this country is, and making people feel and how to save it, making people feel the connection to outdoors, which is more important now than ever.
Totally, and it gives you such a greater appreciation for how beautiful it truly is.
Yeah, we live in a great state. we said that, right? There's so many different pockets of wonderful things to see and do, and great people. So yeah.
How much do you get involved with schools if there's a school that wants to do more with these environmental hikes and nature talks and things like that? Are there any educational programs? There
is. Well, we did if a school reaches out to us, we have volunteers and staff that would absolutely go in and give them any sort of education that they wanted. We can concentrate on certain things. Last year, me and another volunteer talked about food justice with the Student Environmental Coalition in the state, right? That's involved with Sunrise and stuff. We did a presentation for them. We have a wonderful volunteer from Kingswood Oxford School in West Hartford that's on our legislative committee, and she led a student testimony training, because another important thing you can do besides reaching out to your representatives is to go to the state capitol and to testify and to speak to the legislators directly and tell them what is important to you. So we had some students from all over the state come to that training, and they testified on a couple bills this year, the climate education bill, some testified on a couple other bills too. But
that's exciting.
It was exciting. Yeah, it was great to see them. It was great to see them in action.
And it goes down in the official record too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it'll be there forever. As that is how you feel about things. It's a wonderful way to make a difference. And
I'm not sure if some of them are still doing this, but they had for at least a little while they're online, so you could testify virtually from home.
That's what they still are doing. That's what they still are doing. Yep. For testifying anyway. I think next year it'll probably get back to normal. But I think it's wonderful that they did that. It really opens up a bigger public participation, because it takes a long time, the public hearing. Sometimes you're sitting there for 4 or 5 hours waiting for your turn to testify at the state capitol. But if they can do like a different, a hybrid sort of way, then it would really entice the public to be involved more, which I think is wonderful. It's democracy in action, right?
The most basic form, people having the voice to share.
Yeah, people having a voice to share. It's wonderful.
It must be really exciting for you to see these different bills that you care so much about and you're working hard on, to see them move throughout the process to becoming an actual law.
Yes. It's a couple years ago there was the plastic bag ban, which was wonderful for the state. For a while it was 10 cents a bag, and then they've moved away from that to paper and reusable bags, which is much better for the environment. Plastic is very problematic. It's problematic at the start of it. It's problematic at the finish. It's hard to recycle. There's really not a good way to recycle it that's environmentally friendly. Plastic bags particularly, like the thin plastic, right? But at the beginning, it's made from fossil fuels. It's made from the fossil fuels. So it's carbon emissions at the beginning, it's carbon emissions at the end, and it's really tough. So that was a really big win, and that was really great to have that come to fruition.
And you also had the big win too around the NIPS, I think, last year, the year before.
Yeah, last year they updated the bottle bill. They updated the bottle bill to make it recycling more, incentivize recycling more. They expanded the amount of containers that were on there, and the amount of the redemption too. But I think NIPS were left out of it about the recycling, but they did put in a clause that
NIPS would have a little bit of a charge, but that would go to the municipalities to deal with the waste from there. So they would be able to have money to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Can you share your involvement in a bill such as that one and the Sierra Club's involvement?
For this year?
For this year, yeah. So if there's a bill like Senate Bill number 4, you send it out through the newsletter. How do you engage the 11,000 people?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's 11,000 members and it's 40,000 supporters.
40,000 supporters.
Yeah. So it's like our email list is like 40,000, but the people that are members, because you can sign up for, to get our information.
So if there's something on your newsletter, a
So
lot
there's
of
something on our
eyeballs are
newsletter,
seeing
a lot
it.
of people see it. So what we have a lot of tools, different tools we use. We send them out on our newsletter, email list. We put them up on the website. We sometimes make calls or texts. We'll text and ask people to call their legislator or to sign on to this.
You also do texting
bill.
campaigns as
We
well.
do texting campaigns.
Wow.
Yep. It's really exciting. And we when it was a little more, the Capitol's still shut down. You can only go to the first floor. But a couple of years ago, before all this happened, before COVID, we would do lobby days. So we would send out a lit to people saying, "Hey, come to the Capitol on April 21st, and we'll all try to talk to our legislators, and we'll all, be a big group of people coming and being an environmental group coming to do it." So that's
Is
really
that pretty
interesting.
effective?
I think so. I mean, I think it's pretty effective, and myself and a few volunteers and a few other staff will go to the Capitol and try to talk to legislators and answer any of their questions, talk to them about what we care about, any of the concerns they would have with the bills, and keep it going. But yeah, we have some pretty good outreach. And it's really nice. We do have, like I said, we do partner with a lot of other environmental organizations, social justice organizations. So it helps with the reach to a lot of different kinds of people, and they support our work too. So it's nice.
That's great.
Nice. Yeah.
I imagine you also collaborate with the Connecticut League of Conservation Voters.
We certainly do. Yep, we absolutely do. They're a great group too, and they keep really good track of how the legislators have been doing. They put out a scorecard every year that says so you can look up your legislator and say, oh, how do they vote on the environment, and you can see what bills they supported, which bills they didn't support, and that sort of thing.
And then the Sierra Club also sometimes supports people. So if there's people running for office in this cycle, should they be in touch with Sierra Club to try and garner that endorsement?
Yep, that's a volunteer led committee, our political committee. So you can reach out to the chair of that. You can reach out to our chair, Susan Eastwood, and to get that process going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all that you've shared with us
Thank you.
today, and just so grateful for all the hard work you and the whole team are doing for our
Yeah.
state and country and the world.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today, and I really enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.